Welcome into Wingin' It Wednesday. It is Wednesday, May 3rd, 2017. Joining us in studio, Carol Ross and Warren Caudle. How are you guys?
Fine. Good morning.
Happy to have you guys here. I'm going to switch up the lineup just a little bit because we just talked to Jay Castile from Lafayette Consolidated Government, who really sort of gave a grim outlook on what the parish is going to do without the millages to support the jail and the courthouse. You know, folks have been calling in and said, well, there goes your drainage projects. That's going to be diverted. Oh, there goes this project. And to hear Jay Castile talk about it, much of that money is dedicated and the city doesn't operate effectively or doesn't effectively operate with a general fund. Carol, what's next?
What does he mean it doesn't operate effectively with a general fund?
I guess saying... What's
that mean?
Well, saying because, he was pretty... I don't know, he was blunt or someone yesterday called it was like that the parish is broke when it comes to that sort of just diverting money there's no money just sitting there that can be diverted. Mm-hmm. I guess was his point.
Well, this funding was dedicated anyway, so it wouldn't have gone to drainage anyway.
No, but that's
what
not
I mean
what
is
he's taking away from the general fund to maintain the courthouse and the jail.
Right. The extra funds are apparently not there to do that.
Well, it's a problem. I want to know what the timing was. Did the school board decide to put that on at the time, or were the millages up for renewal at the time, and the school board decided to use this date? Because that's really where the blowback came. I think people have just had it up to here. And so it's unfortunate. I voted for all three of them. I thought they were necessary, and I understand the dedication. But a lot of people are just tired of the, always coming back with the renewals. And what also I think played into this was the fact that the governor, who told everybody that 1 cent was going to be temporary, now there are bills filed to make it permanent at the state level. So nobody trusts government at any level anymore to do what they say they're going to do.
But you
so
did
I think
vote
it was,
for them?
I did. I voted for all three, and I spoke for all three on my show. Don't have a heart attack, Warren. But, I mean, you have to make the distinction. That 1 cent sales tax for the school board was totally unnecessary. It was an unnecessary proposal at a bad time. They should not have done it. Those three small property tax renewals for the maintenance of the jail and the courthouse, which are in bad shape anyway. I think you have to look at things rationally and decide where you draw the line. I drew the line at the school tax. I thought it was totally bogus, wrong, and not the right thing to do. These things, it's unfortunate. But I will tell you this. You look at the budgets of both the school board and consolidated government, and there have to be ways in there to make up for this. Now, if they want to come back in the fall, that'll be on them. That school tax, no way. They should not bring that up. No way.
We will come back to more on the school tax and whether or not this vote was the first vote for deconsolidation maybe of the school board. We'll come back to that.
Yeah, I don't understand that meaning.
Meaning that the outside areas, the Youngsvilles, the Broussards, those who...
The ones who are getting a lot of things out of that tax proposal? And have gotten a lot of things out of the school board, and they voted against it.
Them pulling out and the possibility of that. Warren, there's been a lot city versus parish. What do you make of that, in this case?
About the jail?
Yeah.
I keep hearing all this stuff that coming from Bernie and you guys about the parish doesn't pay their fair share. And I have to keep reminding everybody that every citizen...
I did not say fair share.
Well, you said there's not enough tax base out there. But here's the deal. I said, show me 1 square inch of inside the parish limits of Lafayette boundaries that's not located in Lafayette Parish. Show me one person, one citizen that's not a citizen of Lafayette Parish.
I don't think
here's the way. Hold on. Here's the way it goes. Since I'm parish and you three of the city of Lafayette, who owns the airport? Lafayette Parish. Who owns the jail? Lafayette Parish. Sheriff Newstrom told me one time the biggest problem we have is most of our inmates, the people that we get arrested to bring over here, are mentally ill. They're mentally ill. They're homeless. They're people because Lafayette City basically operated as a sanctuary city for homeless when Acorn and Acadian Outreach were in their days of glory, bringing people in or enticing them to come in. So my deal is, well, good. Here's what we're going to do with our jail. We got too many people over there now. I'm for less prisoners and not bigger jails. So here's what my deal is. You bring your prisoners to my jail, you city people. We're going to charge you $3,000 a day to house them. Just keep bringing them.
Warren, you just undercut your own point. The city people are paying parish taxes.
I don't know how that tax thing breaks down. but
Everybody
if
in the
city
parish
people-
pays.
If
right?
everybody in, well, then how is the money allocated? That's the big problem.
Well, that's always the problem.
That's the problem. How is the money allocated? And that's what I want to know. I want me a meeting with Mr. Robideau. I know he can explain it, but
Well,
what happens when somebody like Broussard takes in part of the parish, and then you have these really nice big companies and all that go in there and build on that? Where does that property tax still go to the parish?
It depends on whether
it's allocated for the parish or whether.
Right.
Yes, exactly. And the problem is that every time an area becomes valuable, let's say with a development that produces sales and property taxes, it is annexed by one municipality or another. And I have been saying all along, there's a shrinking area that is unincorporated in this parish. Set up those areas of influence so you don't have municipalities leapfrogging each other in a very inefficient way, costly way.
Years ago, the city of Lafayette got skunked by Scott, and it was a great move on Scott's part.
And Broussard.
Well, I'm talking about when it was Sam's. Remember, Sam's was out over right
Across
at the Ambassador exit.
But look,
So, Scott was excited. They saw this opportunity happening, so they annexed, which was brilliant for them.
Karen Crow annexed the racetrack. I mean, it goes on and on.
But
But
that's neither here nor there. The problem is the way you.
No, that's not.
The problem
here
is
or
the way
there.
you
It's here
allocate
and there.
money. Every other place in the world,
It's here and
especially
there
in
and
the
everywhere.
United States of America, basically, the money goes in, and they figure out what the county needs, the county roads, the county schools, and all that stuff. And somebody makes that budget, and it's generally it's the county court or whatever. And then what they don't need, it goes elsewhere. But here we do it differently. It's just like the sales tax. Sales tax goes to Baton Rouge, and they turn around and send it back here. If my understanding is correct, a lot of that stuff is. But we try to separate so much stuff.
Well,
what if you had done that on a federal level when they did the interstate highway system, and said, okay, when we send that interstate highway through Louisiana over there, all of this area is not going to be able to afford it, so we're only going to put it through Baton Rouge, only going to put it through New Orleans, and the rest of you're going to do without.
Well, that's not the way it was done. It was done by population count, and we didn't make the count.
Well, what I'm saying, what if it was done by tax base?
Your point would be, I'm totally confused, Warren.
Which is what you keep arguing
about.
here. You keep arguing here, well, we can't do drainage out there because they don't have the tax base to support it.
Well, frankly, the drainage needs to be done regionally because you can concrete every coulee in Lafayette Parish and it's still going to get backed up somewhere.
Quite frankly, your problem with drainage starts in Vermilion Parish.
That's not where it starts.
It's where it
But that's where it ends.
We have heard that, especially after last August. All right,
Sure.
let's wrap this topic up. We're going to move on to the school board, the effectiveness of the school board, how it moves forward after the failure of the half-cent sales tax to support those building projects. So let's talk about festival. It's one of my favorite times of the year. I like it. I know a lot of people call it Hippie Fest, but I think it's fun. I think it's something unique to our area. However, after the issues that happened on Saturday night, Bernie and I talked. I said, look, I am guilty. I do not look over my shoulder when I'm downtown. I, in my mind, grew up here because I was going downtown the whole time I was in college and since, and I've never really much worried about any security issues. It's always kind of the thought of, oh, there are enough people to see, nothing's going to happen. There are enough people. Well, now we see a shooting in the middle of a bunch of people.
But when did it happen?
Yeah, it happened.
Festival had already shut down.
Yeah.
It was way down where those bars are. They do have some problems down there, but it had nothing to do with festival. And we, in fact, my friend and I leaving that night at 11 o'clock after having been down there 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. It's a family festival. You got kids down there. You got moms and dads. It's just great. And people get their festival freak on all the time. They're normally staid, normal people. They just put on crazy clothes for the festival. Because you wonder, we live in a conservative community. Where are all these crazy? But it's great.
Well,
it's also creative.
People, for the other 51 weeks of the year, they're regular people.
Yeah.
Then they keep 4 festival outfits.
Yeah.
Ready to go for those 4 days.
Hair extensions, crazy tops,
So, I mean, is it something that festival needs to look at, though? Because
you always have to be careful about security and when you have that big a crowd, and there were huge crowds. But I am telling you, this had nothing to do with festival, and in my head, I said, I'll bet they're from out of town. Again, just like the theater shooting, again, out-of-towners. You know, I just have so much more confidence in Lafayette people. And here they were. They were from out of town, and it had nothing to do with festival. So I think that people should be very cautious when they try to cause a problem or cause a relationship. There's no direct relationship to festival. It's a great, safe, wonderful event. Are there crazy people all over? Yeah, you do have to kind of be aware all the time when you're in a crowd. But I don't draw that conclusion that festival is a problem. It's not.
You know, it was funny. We saw a bunch of stories leading up to festival about all the additional cameras that were downtown.
Oh, there are. Yeah.
And, you know, you have this happen at a very busy part of Jefferson Street. We haven't seen video yet. Maybe we'll one day see the video.
As my friend Ralph Peters said many, many years ago, he said, I love this festival. These people, these are lovers. These are people, they love music. They love the culture. They love each other. And we hardly have any problem.
Yeah. All right, Warren, what do you think, sir?
I don't want to offend anybody, you know, but one of my friends used to say that Lafayette was the civilized part of Louisiana, and we don't disagree with that. And you've talked about the special people in Lafayette and how everything was always nice and orderly, and the festivals were. And most people would say, you know, you can't have a good festival in Louisiana if you don't have a few fights and a few stabbings and maybe every once in a while a shooting at the end of it. Where I used to live, we had a really nice festival, and so I would always work over there and help out. And like the first year of it, we're getting ready Sunday afternoon, we're getting ready to close down or something, and would work in the booth, and somebody said, we need to hurry up and close down before the fight starts.
Wow.
And that was just sort of a normal thing that went along with because everybody I think that was there were trying to consume as much of the beer as they could before the thing closed down. And
well, there was an aromatic feel also downtown
you know, so,
for the festival.
you know, you're talking about
it was very aromatic. Maybe that made them kind of mellow.
But it is a sad thing that those kind of things happen. But it didn't have anything to do with festival. You know.
So pull festival out of it. We've heard concern from downtown business owners, those who don't own bars and clubs, but the other ones, the restaurants, businesses who are located downtown, who think crime is really a problem. How is this solved in a city like ours? Or are people going to move out again?
You know, at one time, my wife worked down Jefferson Street for about 10 years or so, and at one time there, you had, when Acorn and KDN Outreach ruled the city, you just had this big influx of panhandlers and whatever down there, and they were just running people off of Jefferson. And that every time you turn around, somebody was coming up to you saying, "Oh, hey, can you spare $15? I need to get back to Mobile. My mother's dying, and I need $15.40 for a bus ticket," you know, and that kind of stuff. So then all at once you